When in America have we ever seen a high profile headline that starts off as a lone wolf narrative ever get corrected to something else? I'm super excited for this stream. If this is your first time in the Hive, this is a contrarian thinking live stream where we are not afraid to think past the headlines. So if you're easily rattled or offended on behalf of others, this is not going to be the stream for you. However, if you like to look into things, you tend to see rather easily through the mainstream media BS and corruption. Well, you have found your people. You are amongst friends, and welcome. I go live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Central. I stream both here on YouTube and X, soon to be Rumble. And when I get that up and running, I will let you all know. Let's go ahead and get into today's theme, which is we are watching the cover up of the murder of Charlie Kirk. The assassination of Charlie Kirk is being covered up. Now, what's interesting, I didn't have time to screenshot it, but I'm scrolling X and I saw a survey. 95% with $332,000 in donations on a poll believe that Tyler Robinson is the lone wolf. 95%. I would have thought it had been the opposite. It says, was Tyler Robinson a lone actor? Yes. 96% chance. I stand corrected. Unbelievable. Why do you think people are believing this lone wolf narrative? Well, I have a theory. And that theory is, when in America have we ever seen a high profile headline that starts off as a lone wolf narrative ever get corrected to something else? On a massive level. If there are accomplices that do sneak their way into the narrative, it seems to be hidden in the most random paragraph towards the end of whatever document they release, and you have to go digging through it. Very rarely will you ever see a massive rollout and say, this was not a lone wolf act. There was 20 plus people involved, or whatever the number is now. There's a multitude of reasons that it's a little bit sad, because the narrative felt so choreographed. It almost seems, and actually, let's go through this exercise. Charlie Kirk gets shot. Is anybody surprised that this is the outcome that the news has rolled with and dug their heels in on, and that the powers that be have dug their heels in on this lone wolf narrative? I'm not surprised. I would have bet money that if you could have just said, okay, Charlie Kirk is shot, what does the next 48 to 72 hours of the news cycle look like? I would have guaranteed that this would have been lone wolf. Guaranteed. Lone wolf. And I would have said, this is probably going to be some young man who acted by himself. He was on some sort of maybe prescription psychotic medicine, minimal friends. Nobody really knows him. I'm not surprised. And Bextats, thank you so much for the super chat. Bextats says, how many of us remind our quote lovers of our pronouns when texting? I can't get past that. Did we talk about the Candace clip where she was saying that she had gotten a tip that said the FBI went wrong when they were AI generating that prompt, and they meant to say people in their 20s, but the prompt interpreted it as people in the 20s, hence why it says like my love, and I'll go retrieve it. And it was talking as a young couple in the 1920s, not the age of being in their 20s. And I was like, holy shit, that might actually be what happened. That literally might be what happened. Nobody texts like that. No timestamps, nothing. And Constance B says, and thank you for the super chat, the key word being actor. Yes, Tyler is lone. That's a great point. They call it a lone actor. Words are important, right? Words are extremely important. And actor is a key one. It did read like a Shakespeare novel. Exactly. Staged. And what up, Tracy? Good to see you. Jamie, if Candace Owens ever agreed to come on the Hive Mind, I'd shit a golden chicken that would then shit a golden brick, and that would somehow hatch into another golden chicken. That would be epic. Let's move on. I'm going to quick plug the channel. As I was saying, if you have not hit that subscribe button, please do. And on the chat right now, if you just swipe down, tap the like button, that helps get this out into the algorithm. Same thing with X. If you want to repost it, I would really appreciate it. I have TikTok, Discord, Substack. I need to get a Substack article out tomorrow. And then I also have Facebook and Instagram. Now, I don't just have all of these platforms to just have them, right? They obviously take additional work to run and manage. And thank you to the people that are helping me out with that. Robin, Dawn, Dana, other people in the Hive. But the reason why we have that is so that you guys can post your clips or you guys can tag those profiles and send them to people that maybe don't watch on YouTube. So the next time you're on that app, if you could please just go type in Birdie_Hive Mind or Birdie Bombshell or just Birdie, it should pop up. And if you could just like the page or follow me on those, I would really appreciate it. Send those clips to your normie, mouth breathing NPC zombie friends in the most respectful way. Slowly start to dose them with the red pills. I'm going to completely own this. I do not know how I forgot it. I have an alert that goes off on my phone, and I don't know how I haven't been seeing it. The Hive Mind Roundtable was always scheduled to be the last Sunday of every month. We could have tried to push for this Sunday. I made the decision. We are going to do a Hive Mind Roundtable following Sunday, October 5th. And then we will be back onto our normal schedule. We'll do another one right before Halloween. That's your guys' show. I want to set you all up for success. And it's just like a bunch of friends that are FaceTiming, talking about whatever we want. Moving on to the Hive Mind Finds. This comes from Not an NPC. Now, this was wild, and my mind is blown. This comes from X. Trillion0x says, I cannot say how I got this information. Just know it was from a source very close to Charlie. Now, let's talk about Arcus from Elbit Systems. It has AR capabilities. It's incredibly lethal, and it's perfect for a surgical strike on Charlie Kirk's brainstem that nobody will ever see. The Assault Rifle Combat Application System, Arcus, is a unique computer platform for assault weapons designed for the future infantry soldier. We don't see the shot because there was no line of sight to Charlie. It used augmented reality. I'm going to read that again. We don't see the shot because there was no line of sight to Charlie. It used augmented reality. The reason he, quote, looks ready, he closes his eyes and sighs because someone spoke in his ear, which he didn't like because it is distracting, but it froze him in place long enough to shoot him. Hunters do the exact same when making an animal call to get the buck to look up and freeze. Now, I don't know if this was used. I need to collect my thoughts on how I ask this because I know that there's going to be a ton of answers. So I'm trying to figure out a way how to ask it that everybody can either agree or disagree initially. Is there a mystery around where this shot was fired from? Or are the majority of the people that are tuned in right now convinced that this shot came and hit him behind the ear and exited out? Because there's a lot of people that say from behind. There's a lot of people that say it might be the palm gun guy. What are your thoughts on that? I have a video that this just looks completely choreographed. I'm going to make this full screen and I'll let this play and then we can talk about it. Okay. I have so much to say about this video because let me tell you this. If you didn't notice who got handed something and who handed something off, that's the whole palm gun guy. That was the first thing that went through my head. I'm not saying he actually had a palm gun, but with all the reaction and the trigger, and then you see him, hand something off and then the guy runs out. This all seems too, it's just obvious. Exactly. They're passing something. Now, here's what I don't understand. Let me frame this in reality. I get that this is trained security. I get they might have military background. I get all of that. I don't feel like they even assessed what was going on before there's 3 people running off camera, looping around. I mean, we're talking in a matter of seconds. So are they trained for that? Yes, but like, how do they know? Was he fatally hit? Was he not fatally hit? Are they going to do that at the sound of a gunshot? Do they just know? But they're all jumping onto the ground. They all run and get on the ground quick, and then they get up and they scatter. I don't understand the lack of what just happened. Nobody looks up. Nobody tries to find the shot. Nobody looks around. He's just down. He runs. They slide around the table. One guy's hopping over the table. That isn't that unrealistic of an action, in my opinion. But the handoff, at first I thought, was it keys? Where they're like, here's the keys to the Denali or whatever they put him in. That's what I thought. But it actually looks like the dude who was the sketchy palm gun accused guy hands him something. And then that guy runs. Now, I want to also show you guys this. So this is interesting to me. The bald guy's reaction time. Okay, this dude. Watch this reaction. Does this seem, and I'm not trying to speak out of pocket against ex-military, anybody, I don't know. I obviously I'm not trained, but this just doesn't seem like even normal for somebody who would be trained. What was that? What is he doing? It just, yeah, it looks like it's expected. It just looks expected. So that was an interesting video clip. And let's watch it one more time. See, that guy's reaction seemed much more normal on the left. This guy's. I don't know. And then somebody was able to track down Mr. George Zinn in the crowd. Let's check out his reaction time. This is also pretty remarkable. Seems to be right on cue. I mean, that is so quick to stand up and start yelling, "You're the shooter." That is instantaneously. People haven't even started running yet. And someone said, does he have zip ties in his pants? I don't know what that is. Just very interesting. Again, it just seems very on cue, choreographed. This obviously looks like a plainclothes officer here. Obviously. Same here. Another one here. Do you guys think he's in on this? Like are we pretty, we're all in agreement, right? George Zinn can't just be randomly doing that. You guys don't think the old guy that stands up 10 seconds after the shot goes off and starts screaming that he's the... I mean, by his own confession, I think he said that.
Please retrieve your nearest tinfoil hat. Place hat firmly on your head.
This is mind-blowing. This is just so weird whenever people track back the entire plot to what's happening in real life to a movie that was released in 1998. Snake Eyes, Gilbert Powell, is based on Donald Trump. Numerous references to it still remain in the final film. And let's go ahead and watch this.
In the movie Snake Eyes, there's a tremendous amount of predictive programming regarding the Charlie Kirk psyop. The main character that's murdered in the movie's name is Charlie Kirkland. He is killed by a single shot in the neck on September 10th. Charlie Kirk was killed by a single shot in the neck on September 10th. No coincidence, 2025 is the year of the snake. This movie's called Snake Eyes. The movie's marketing has Nicolas Cage making this hand signal, the same one that Donald Trump and Elon Musk made at Charlie Kirk's memorial. The central plot in Snake Eyes centers around a corrupt deal with Israel. One of the conspiracy narratives surrounding Charlie Kirk is that he started turning against Israel. A heavyweight boxing champion named Lincoln Tyler is involved with the conspiracy surrounding the assassination of Charlie Kirkland. The name Tyler derives from the word tiler, the one who lays the tiles, like the Masonic system laying tiles on the black and white checkerboard, creating psychological operations, psyops, to move and manipulate the world through mind programming. In the movie Fight Club, Tyler D orchestrates a terrorist attack called Project Mayhem. What is predictive programming? It's a revelation of the method that happens ahead of time so that when something happens in real life, the public accepts it more easily because they've seen it before. The tagline for the movie Snake Eyes is believe everything except your eyes. So much is coming out regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination psyop. Tons of AI was used. There's theories about his wife, Erica Kirk, being involved. Something just doesn't feel right. So everybody, let's not just believe our eyes, but let's think a little bit. Why is this all going on? What is the bigger psyop behind this psyop?
All right. That is just mind-blowing. And Sherlock, I'll go ahead and I'll pull those up here quick. Give me 1 second here. All right.
So many people today in this country go to church and have no idea in the world where the word church comes from. The word church is an English word that is based on a Scottish word, Kirk. This is why in Star Trek you have Captain Kirk and the good ship Enterprise. These words, they mean something. Kirk is Scottish for the English word church. Mother Circe in Greece became Mother Circe, in Rome became Mother Kirk, in Scottish became Mother Church, in English. Wow. Mother Circe in Greek was able to hypnotize people and bring them into her home and hypnotize them and turn them into pigs and animals and then eat them. She would live off of them. Emperor Constantine called together all of the magic practicing priests of the Roman Empire because the empire was in trouble, like America is today. America's falling apart. America's in decline. America is collapsing because it has accepted lies and deception and promoted all the teachings that are just not true. The President of the United States has no control over anything. Governments have no control. But as long as they can make you think they're in control, then you will do their bidding. That God gave you your life to be free, not to crawl on your knees to any government, not to bend your knee to any man or any group of men, no church, no religion, no synagogue. You need to do your homework and find out where all this stuff really comes from. The white establishment on the earth. And one of the most important priesthoods in that ancient establishment were the Druids. And the Druids had a very important symbol that they used that we still have today. It was a magic wand. Magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. It was made out of Hollywood.
Oh my God.
And they're still working their magic on us in Hollywood today. This is where the word comes from. So many people today in this.
And just to add one more to the pot here, as far as the truth hiding in plain sight in the English language, consider pro and con. Pro is positive, con is negative, as it's null, right? If one is to have to get into a place, they can ingress. If one is to get out of a place, they can egress, right? If one is to make positive change inwardly, they're making progress. Got it? Now, what would it mean? What would the English word be for making negative change outwardly? That would be the primary body of our government, Congress.
Oh my God.
So they're not for us. They're telling us the truth in plain sight. Now, keep in mind, if you haven't seen my previous short where I showed you that the word church is an English word that is derived from the word Kirk, as in Captain Kirk or Charlie Kirk. It's a Scottish word, Kirk. The Scottish called their churches Kirks. Okay, and then the English took it and made it church. That's where the word church comes from. Very interesting that we have an event here, whether real or illusion. It's still an event that got the church all riled up, everybody divided, and now the country is basically wanting to go to civil war over this. And it's to cause chaos. It's to cause mayhem. And if you consider Freemasonry, the rites that Freemasons take in their occult, their secret society, they call them rites. These are the Scottish rites. Okay, very interesting that the word church, the target of this entire PSYOP event, is an English word derived from the Scottish word Kirk. So I don't know. To me, that's some pretty strong correlation that regardless of whether it's real or an illusion, to me, this has Freemason written all over it. And I just wanted to put that out there. And just to add one more.
So, you know what's so interesting about all that stuff is all of that can be traced back to like the origin. Like they talked about Hollywood, and it was a magic wand. It was a branch made of Hollywood. And then they used it to cast spells and work magic. I don't think that stuff just disappears. I always, and this might be a terrible analogy, but in my brain, what I just thought of with how can I make an analogy of like something just doesn't go away when there's been a long history of it and it's got a traceable history. Like I always think of the mob. Like that was my grandpa's generation. And my grandpa would tell me stories. And my grandpa had buddies that were still alive. My grandpa had his network still until he passed. I understand that you could say, oh, a lot of the mob guys, they were either killed, they were put in prison. Like, I just don't think that goes away. I think things get smarter. I think things go underground. I think people get more intelligent about how they maintain their power and they don't go and flaunt it as much, especially if they have it. I think a lot of the world's richest people, the world's most powerful people, we don't even know their names. I think that that's by design. And I think that a lot of that can be correlated to the meaning of words, their origins. How do things get named this way? Maritime law. Are we sovereign? Are we not? Congress, progress. It's pretty, I like that stuff. I think it's very interesting. And I have no idea how we'd ever be able to untangle it. But they do seem to put it right in your face and then just not teach you the meanings of it. So now when you think of Congress, you probably just think it's a random word and it doesn't have any meaning in the English language as to how it became and got named that. The Freemasons. There's so much Freemasonry symbolism all over this as well. Hannah says, whether you realize it or not, so many things today are steeped in the occult because this world is run by Satan. It's all threads woven together by the same source. Jesus will win, but Satan is ruling right now. That the entire narrative of good versus evil, spiritual warfare, you could say that's a bunch of malarkey, but I can tell you there's a lot of people can feel it. And I do not disagree with it. It's not right or left. It's good versus evil. And I think it has nothing to do with politics, and it has everything to do with the force in this realm on Earth. And it's deep and it's trippy and it's weird to think about. It's weird to even say it out loud, but I truly believe that. And this is just crazy too. I'll probably have to play this a couple times. Tell me what you guys see. Now, is that a bug? Because I don't think a bug would fly that fast, nor do I think it would be picked up that quick. And there's been some videos of people capturing, like, quote, drones. I don't know what that is. I think it's too big for a bug as well. I'll play it one more time. There's some footage of a bunch of random fast flying stuff that gets captured all over. So I don't know what to make of that. This is I'm sure there's people that have their opinions on Stu Peters, as do I. For better or worse, I think a lot of it just depends on the context and the content. And I'll play this. You guys tell me what you think. This is why I asked that question of, I've seen less and less fingers being pointed at Israel and more fingers being pointed at the person he talks about here.
This was a woman who was already closely connected to Donald Trump long before she even met Charlie Kirk. And by the way, she met him on one of his trips to Israel. That's important. Did you see the Charlie Kirk memorial service in Arizona where she helped to drive home the narrative that this weirdo, this guy who's in love with a tranny furry, Tyler Robinson, is solely responsible for Charlie's murder and that she forgives him? Watch.
I forgive him.
Yeah. No, I'm not buying that at all. That looks like show business to me. That looks like Hollywood. It looks like a grieving widow, or maybe a not so grieving widow, who has been put up on stage with a script to hammer home the point that Tyler Robinson is undoubtedly guilty. Tyler Robinson's going to go on trial, if he even makes it to trial, having been forgiven by Charlie Kirk's wife. And jurors will know that. So it helps to reinforce his guilt, even though we have absolutely zero legitimate evidence actually linking this guy to that crime. Just grainy surveillance footage, fake text messages, and a transgender furry. And you can rest assured that this fake government will carefully be monitoring the public response to all of this. They're going to be using all of their internet monitoring trolls, all of their surveillance state goodies and technologies, all of their AI spyware, to see what the public reaction is. What are people saying? What they can expect the public reaction to be? How should they play all of this? And if people aren't buying into their story, well, they'll just kill Tyler Robinson. And that's actually the most plausible, most likely scenario. They don't want this guy to go on trial. Do you think that the facts of this case, as they've been presented to us, would withstand scrutiny in a courtroom? There's no real trial to be had. On those fake facts alone, as they've been presented to us, there is nothing to convict this guy of murdering Charlie Kirk, other than this big memorial service and Charlie's wife, Erica, who took to the stage and announced that she forgives Tyler Robinson for murdering her husband, almost like a form of spiritual manipulation to get people to buy into the story even more, to get Christians to buy into the story and pick it up and run with it. And it's obvious that a bunch of Jews have already come swooping in to try to make sure that TPUSA goes in the direction that they want it to go. It was Ben Shapiro that told us, I'm going to pick up Charlie Kirk's bloodstained microphone before Charlie's body was even cold. Turning Point USA, mark my words, now more than ever before is going to be used to champion a Judeo-Christian worldview and gear millions of young Americans towards service to the cabal instead of their own country. This is why our government is actively trying to criminalize people who ask too many questions or cast too much doubt on the official narrative.
So I think that he pieced that together pretty damn good. Guys, I'm not going to lie. It's hard for me to feel normal when I say a grieving wife looked how I want to say it looked on stage. It feels weird, and you guys know what I mean. That image really did sum up the entirety of a giant portion of that memorial. There was really good parts. There was like moving parts. If you watched it, there was, and then it just turned into that feeling that we just watched Erica Kirk show on the screen. And this isn't going to go to trial. I saw somebody in the comments say they're going to use the death penalty. They'll force it into a plea deal. They'll never see trial. But he's right. What is linking this dude to the crime? It's obvious. No cover up ever goes to trial. It's very similar to the Idaho 4 case. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Is this going to trial? They're going to kill Tyler? Plea deal coming. Let's make some predictions here in the Hive. On September 24th, 2025. Let's see what the Hive thinks. We can go back and we can watch this, and I'll clip this whenever the sentencing, or God only knows what it happens to him. We can look back at this and see what we all thought. And Bextats, yes, I have. I've seen that. There's some speculation on if it's the child's name, Gigi, and that's what the G is for. Who knows? There's so much symbolism. There's so much just crazy shit that I'll believe anything at this point. It could be a Freemason ring. People are saying no trial. People are saying plea deal. Jamie says Tyler and Brian are being inducted into the FBI class of 2026. Yeah, that's what I was just saying, Don. I don't know. I mean, I could see it for sure. I could also see how it sparks Freemason conspiracies. Tyler's going to take a deal behind the scenes. Yeah, Erica Kirk was on Summer House years back. There's a lot of weird ties to Donald Trump and Erica Kirk. It's odd. Not an NBC says they're going to take him out with Tylenol. Oh, I saw a clip of Jimmy Kimmel's first show back, and I have to say it was hilarious. He said, "I don't know who's had a weirder 48 hours, me or the CEO of Tylenol." And I'm just like, damn, that is this is just crazy. Everything's crazy. And I don't want to just keep saying that, because sometimes I don't have words for what is really going on and what we're being told. And everything is changing so rapidly. Yeah. Yep. Handsmaid's Tale, the prequel. Now, I'm going to move on to the tinfoil hat conspiracy of the day. I know that this is a little bit shorter of a stream, but that's because tomorrow and Friday, I have some stuff that I'm working on actually diving into, because I have yet to put out a full theory on Charlie Kirk. So I'm working on that. Hence why today I just wanted to kind of recap a little bit. But this is pretty remarkable. And we kind of flow into it rather naturally with what we've been talking about in the stream with symbolism. Does anybody know that the capstones of the pyramids are missing? And then in the dollar bill logo, that's what they have floating. I thought that was something that maybe not a lot of people know. But I did want to talk about the missing capstone as the final piece of the global control grid conspiracy. And that's for thousands of years, the top of the pyramid, both literally on the Great Pyramid and symbolically on the US dollar, has been missing, not by accident, but it's by design. It represents the ultimate key to total control, ancient technology, forbidden knowledge, or even non-human intelligence that the elite are withholding until the world is ready for full submission. The pyramid is human civilization under construction, and the floating eye represents the hidden hand, the Illuminati or Luciferian overlords watching from above, waiting for the moment to descend the capstone and seal the New World Order. According to leaked occult symbols, Q drops, and elite iconography, the capstone is the key that opens all doors. Once it's in place, there's no going back. It marks a completion of their plan, total surveillance, spiritual control, and technocratic domination. A lot of people are saying that the capstone is not missing, but it's rather hidden, and it's waiting to be placed. And once they place it, that's how you know it's game over and a one world system has been activated. I'd be curious if in our lifetimes we'll ever see that capstone added back onto the top of the pyramid. So I love going down those type of rabbit holes. I like the ones where like when I think about it for too long, you feel uncomfortable. Not saying that the pyramids have me feeling that way, but when you really start to look into the occult stuff and the darkness of just so many giant symbols that are in our world, right in our face, right under our nose, where nobody seems to even pick up on it. It's remarkable how well they're hidden. I'd be curious how many people, again, even knew that the top of the pyramids have been missing. And how many times have you seen them? And how many times have you seen the dollar? And how many times have you seen the eye, the all-seeing eye, representing the capstone on our dollar? I geek out over Tartaria. I haven't really brought too much of it onto the stream. I feel like that Tartaria would have to be a couple of streams back to back to back, I would think. Is that anything that the Hive would be interested in learning about? Is Tartaria? A lot of people refer to it as the old world. We can go down so many rabbit holes in here because I know there's people that have a plethora of knowledge and would probably be able to contribute to any topic that I could even think of. But the Tartarian rabbit hole is epic. It'll change the way you see these buildings downtown in every city all over the world. So, okay, a lot of people are saying yes. Yes. Yeah, Jamie's saying I like that. Education is power. Shell says hell yeah. Haley Muckenfuss. All right. Oh, Atlantis too. Man. We need to become like a conspiracy cult in the Hive. Just master all of the language and all of the hidden decodes that have been hidden under our nose and just start shamelessly spreading it into the normies' minds. And with that, Hive, I hope everybody sleeps good, and I'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. Cheers.